Wonderful person.
I'm a world languages teacher. I'm a French dual immersion teacher by trade, but now I am a teacher trainer. And in terms of using Nearpod, I've been using Nearpod since they started piloting it, and I was one of their first certified educators because I just loved using the tool a whole bunch. And we actually had this idea to have a little showdown because I wanted to find out more about Peardeck a few weeks ago. And then Denise had this awesome Peardeck presentation. And then afterward, Natalie was like, hey, you know, it'd be kind of neat if we had a showdown of what these tools are. And so that's how this evening came about. So, and I am a Peardeck. I don't use Peardeck in general yet, but I do see how Peardeck has some really awesome things that Nearpod does not. So you be the judge tonight to see what fits your needs. So there we go. And Natalie is our awesome moderator tonight. So Natalie, you want to introduce yourself too?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the moderator. I'm more like carry the spit bucket kind of gal, but you know, I'm ready to throw down. I have no idea how you girls are planning to do this, but I am happy. I will be fielding questions. So if you have questions for them as we go along, please feel free to put them in the chat. And we will try to keep up and we'll ask the questions for them. Also, too, as a reminder, it's always helpful if you could just mute yourselves. That just helps us. And again, I'm sure knowing these two gals, there'll be moments where they'll stop and be like, questions? Do you have anything? Right? So, and we're just excited to get ready to rumble, I guess. Hey, Dawn, do we have a little music, a little intro music maybe to get this started? I think we might have a little something to get us going. I'm so fun. And if you want to, you can change your name. If you want to take a side right now, feel free. Change your name, go Team Nearpod, Team Peardeck, or hey, Team Pineapple, because that's always a good one. Can't go wrong with that.
Hey, Natalie, I'm going to try to buy your vote.
You're what?
I'll buy your vote.
And for those of you who are interested, the slide access tonight is bit.ly/MP capitalized and then Showdown.
Okay, one more time, Valerie. We'll get it. Craig, are you getting it in the chat? Because he's usually so good on that.
I do have it in the chat for everyone.
You do? Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So all you got to do is access that, and it does have a mix of Peardeck things in there along with Nearpod things. And first things first is you choose what type of participation you want. So you can either be, for tonight, you could be a spectator where you're just watching how things are going. Or if you are more of a tech savvy person, you can choose to be a number 2, which is participant, where you choose one platform that you're going to test. So you have your Zoom window open and another tab open with either Nearpod or Peardeck, whichever one you'd like to do. If you are fancy schmancy, you could be a participant 3, which means you have both Peardeck and you have Nearpod open in 2 separate tabs. And you also have our Zoom window running so that you could hear our voices. And lastly, you could be a demonstrator. So then you get to share your screen from time to time, either as just a single tool, a single Peardeck or Nearpod user, or have both. And you're okay with sharing your screen and how you want to, so that you could demonstrate the use of the tool. Coolio? So make a decision.
Can you guys see my screen right now with the 4 options?
Yes.
Good. Looks good.
Good. Any questions about those 4 different levels?
Do we have to tell you which one we want?
Nothing in the chat. You're all good.
You have to think about it. You are going to have to choose. Are we ready to kick off and jump in, Valerie?
I think so.
All right.
So ding, 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 round 1.
Ding, ding, ding. So if you've chosen, here is the Nearpod link or code for you. So you want to go to nearpod.com, and this is the code that you're going to put in. And I believe.
And if you've chosen Peardeck, you're going to go to joinpd.com, and then you're going to enter the code SEBIF. And it's not case sensitive. And both Peardeck and Nearpod, I believe, are device agnostic. So if you don't want to manipulate a bunch of windows, you can always grab your cell phone and actually join from a web browser on your cell phone.
Put the info in the chat for everyone as well.
Awesome.
And Susan, I love that you can do number 4. Thank you so much.
Yay. Yeah, because we really want you guys to be able, for people who are just going to be kind of following along and watching, we'd like for you to be able to see it from like the student perspective as well.
Can you show us a thumbs up if you are ready? Ooh, I got 18 people in mine.
Oh, well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because you're going to start first, I believe. And let's see.
I see several thumbs ups of people ready. All right. Coolio. Am I sharing my screen first then?
Yes, you're up first.
Okay, I'm up first.
Well, I have 29 in Peardeck. Not that we're, you know.
Not that we're comparing, right? I have 24 now. So the really cool part is now you're seeing my screen. I get to see a student list first. And then I click next. I got 26 now, Denise. Booyah.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Or I can also hide the student. So right now I have hide students' names. So then I won't be able to see any of your responses. And to access all of your slides, you have them right over here. Okay, so this is our showdown. This is our information. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We take the Q model where we will provide you with free lifetime tech help. Yeah. So you've chosen your level, you've done all these things. And so the really cool part about Peardeck or about Nearpod is I can actually have my students complete a poll. So if you are here, you get to actually select the one that I could throw in any type of poll, any type of questions I would like, and my students could put in their poll right away, which I think is really cool. And you also see that right over here, I have a timer going on. I don't necessarily always have to put in the timer, but we have some students who take forever in a day. So this was like a 20-second timer that I had put on here. So it really forces the students to make a decision and to choose. And there you go. And so here it is done. And I can see right over here on your student board, I can share the results and you actually see the pie chart directly in front of you. So that, would anybody like to share what their pie chart looked like? Susan, would you like to share? And then I will stop my share.
I see like a pie chart here, like this one. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. So then with your responses, you can actually show what, you can share the data to your students about how they've chosen. So if this is one of my check for understanding questions, I throw it out there. And I could be like, ooh, you know what? I see like 10% of you weren't really sure about what's going on. So, you know, we could talk about the answers that way.
Hey, Valerie, can I go ahead and do that same question real quick with Peardeck?
Of
Before we hop into our first.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. All right, so here we are in Peardeck. You'll see Valerie and I are using the exact same slides. And so, so here in the Peardeck world, right, you can choose your level of involvement as well. So those of you who are in my little Peardeck session, go ahead and choose that. I have 35, Valerie, just to let you know. So what you're seeing right now would be like the projector screen. Distance learning or one-to-one has actually made it where I think that's less important, because if students have a Chromebook in front of them or if they're at home, you're not really using a projector. So I'm going to, this is the dashboard. So this is like the teacher, you know, behind the curtain screen, which I can show the responses. The pedagogy part, what I always tell teachers is, before you show the responses, lock the screens first. By the way, there is also a timer, so I could give you either 30 seconds, 1 minute, or 3 minutes. But it's a good idea to lock the screens first. Otherwise, if you are showing the responses, you're going to see, you know, adults are just like kids, and they're like, oh, we can make the chart move. Okay, so from this view, since this is my dashboard view, I can just hover over and see who has responded in which way, right? So I can see that Eduardo, Natalie, Paul, Susan, Victoria are all willing to be my demo students. And then I can even see down here who was not able to respond. So the exact same information, but this is the Peardeck view. So that's sort of our little intro. I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to go into round one.
All right, so round one, this is something important that we all want to talk about, right? What does teacher preparation look like? Because teacher preparation, as we know, like we want to spend the least amount of time prepping, you know? Otherwise, it just kind of sucks up our whole lives, right? So here we go. With Nearpod, when you have, ooh, something weird just happened. There are over 7,500 pre-made lessons for you. So it is super duper easy for you to use. And if you have slides that are already prepared, all you got to do is put the add-on on your Google Slides. It also works for PowerPoint. You would go to nearpod.com for your PowerPoint, and you would upload your PowerPoint in. And then you add in all sorts of check for understanding activities that you would like. A pro and a con for this is animations don't transfer. So if you are a Google Slides animations person, where you put in a whole bunch of slides, or you have one picture after another that are overlapped, it basically, Nearpod basically takes a screenshot of your actual slide. So none of your animations are going to go through, which makes my life easy, because I'm not that big on animations in any of my slides. And your Nearpod lessons can be shared with other teachers in the same school. So then if you've prepared something and you have something for your team teacher, you can definitely share with your team teacher. Or if you are really, really big on, we're all big on digital citizenship right now, right? And you can, they have pre-made digital citizenship lessons and all sorts of other lessons for you that you can just click and go. And what does it look like? So this is what the add-on looks like for you. So you just have to add it, and then you log in directly into your Nearpod. And you could use your district account, or you can use your personal account. The only tricky part is you want to be careful with your profiles. So when I'm on my Chromebook and I'm on my personal account and not on my work account, I actually can't get in and use this one unless I am in the profile for my work. Does that make sense for everybody? So that it doesn't get mixed up, okay? And next, this is just, you could read this on your own time, what is offered in the freemium version and what is offered in the paid version. The cool part is every single one of you will walk away with 6 months of gold today, because we're gonna give you that code. Platinum user if you wanna pay for it by yourself as well. And district, I don't know what the price is, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that your district either adopts Peardeck or Nearpod for all of your teachers. And Denise, we're gonna bring it back to you, I believe.
All right. So, teacher prep, I got to tell you, this is why I love Peardeck, is because it is so easy. Now, again, right now I'm showing you the teacher dashboard, so you're kind of getting the behind the screen view. My navigation is super simple with these arrows. Any notes that are on my slides are going to pop up. So Peardeck has a very strong Google slide integration. Okay, and it's actually a Google slide add-on. So your slide, it's clickable. If you don't know this little shortcut, that's the fast, easy way to get to a brand new slide deck. And then you're just going to go through and click on add-ons and search for Peardeck, and then boom, you will be ready to go. Now, Peardeck does also kind of flatten your animations. They do have a power up. It's a little weird right now. It could be because I'm on the teacher one. Let me see, because normally with the power up, the GIFs will still work, but looks like maybe it's not right now. But it kind of does the exact same thing Nearpod does, is it will flatten it. And so in the actual Google slide deck, you'll see these are kind of just a little animated GIF to show you the steps. So it's super easy to install the Peardeck add-on. And then you're going to get a little sidebar. And so here's a little interactive question for you, true or false, right? You can start presenting with Peardeck with only one slide. If you see down here are the responses that are loading. If I go back to my little teacher view, sorry, it gets a little crazy when we, there we go, have the Zoom windows going. And yes, you are all correct. Only one slide needed to start using Peardeck. With Peardeck, there's a slide library that will transform all your presentations. I like to say it takes your lesson from a monologue to a dialogue. So even though I'm doing all the talking right now, I'm still able to interact with you and get information from you, like in the true false. And so even though these next slides are interactive, we're actually not going to do the interactions. I just want to show you. These are all pre-made slides that Peardeck has for you. And the cool thing is literally one click, boom, this whole slide is automatically put into your slide deck. So they have drawing slides, they've got text slides, multiple choice, draggables. And
hold on, are you showing all the cool stuff already? Are you jumping ahead of yourself?
It is teacher prep, right? This
She's playing dirty.
Click. So, teacher prep. You also choose if it's teacher directed or student paced. And you may notice there's audio on this slide. So, one of my number 4s, Susan or Eduardo. I'm going to stop sharing. If one of you want to show your screen and show the audio, this is a new feature. Because to me, that's part of teacher prep, Val. It's all interpretative, right? Does someone want to, Dr. Eddie, I want you to play the audio though. So, or Susan, one of my number 4s.
I don't hear any audio.
It's actually in the bottom right-hand corner. Sorry. So it says audio included. And then down on the bottom right-hand corner, see there you go. You can even add audio to your presentation. Boom! How awesome is that for distance learning, right? You got your slide, your kids hear your voice explaining it. And how much prep time did that take me? 6 seconds to record it. Your
I do
turn,
have-
Val.
I do have to say, I don't think Nearpod allows you to add audio into the slides. But students can respond in audio. So they can, if you have an open-ended question, they can record their response as opposed to typing in their response. You know, so I think that's really cool. All right. So next, we have, you're going to be experiencing some actual tools or some of the actual activities that we have. So here are some interactive activities in Nearpod. Our very first one is a collaborative board. So you can actually go directly in and you share your thoughts, or you can put in an image and your thoughts too. So what is your goal in using Peardeck or Nearpod? What would you like to do? So if you could please enter your response in, that would be lovely. Make remote lessons more engaging. Yes. And you see how it's all asterisks right up here? I can actually show the students maybe snuffleupagus. And then you also have little hearts. So I'm like, I'm really, really digging the snuffleupagus. So I'm gonna heart it, you know? Or you, I had taken out the little notification here already. When you first start a collaborative board, you check if you want to approve all of your students' messages before they get posted, because it is a public board, right? I didn't have to worry about this when I was working with 3rd and 4th graders. When I was working with middle schoolers, I did have to have a little talk with them about digital citizenship before I allowed them to just post whatever, because they were middle schoolers and, you know, we posted some funny things. The really cool part though is this share button, because this collaborative board doesn't just go away when the lesson is done. I can actually share it as a link to my students. So maybe we did a little take one, give one, or give one, take one. And so everybody, or this is me crowdsourcing my number mania for Edu Protocols, right? I can have this crowdsourced here, and then I can just share with them either in Google Classroom or in any other way, so that they still have access to the crowdsourced information. I could also share it on social media too, if I wanted to, you know, like tweet out the awesomeness that my students have accomplished. Ooh, look at that. I see some pizza. Yes. Nora, that is awesome.
Aww.
And you see, you can add jiffies in here too. Okay. So this is one of the things. Denise, did you want to show them what you can do with a really awesome collaborative board? Or does Nearpod have a collaborative board?
Nearpod does have a collaborative board. You're showing it right now.
I mean, Peardeck. Does Peardeck?
I think Valerie's already on my side. Go ahead and finish yours, and then I'll do mine. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to throw some shade at you, you know? All right.
Try.
So that was a collaborative board. And here I have a matching game. So as you can see on your end, I could put in either a word, or I can put in images, or I could have 2 images at a time. And you put in your matches. As you can see on my end, I can see how many tries it took each student to complete the whole thing. So get this, I actually show my students this, and sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, it took me like 18 tries, and I really only needed to like have 4 tries. So they actually went into competition with each other to see the least amount of tries it would be possible for them to do it. And I thought that was the most amazing thing, because like I didn't put in this innate competition for them, right? They did it themselves. So I thought that was really cool. And I can view the pairs as well, so then I can review my answers with my students, okay? And all of these images, when you put them in, you can Google search them. So then you don't have to have the pictures by yourself. from what you have already. You could do an automatic Google search, and then they will, you have your Google search images for you. Or if you have specific images, you are able to upload them by yourself as well. And I do this.
Did you say pairs?
I did say pairs. Why?
Peardeck.
And I did put this equation in here because you are able to write equations in there directly. You don't have to, they have all of the math functions there for you. So if you are a math teacher, this is a really great thing instead of using the caret to show the exponent. And I forgot to show you that I can actually click on this right up here where it says S to actually show you the student view, or to be in the student view, so that I could see what students are seeing. It's going to take a while. I shouldn't have done this because now it is going to take me a little bit of time.
Valerie, real quick, did you do this and did you make your slides in PowerPoint or Google Slides?
I made mine in Google Slides.
Okay.
I don't make mine in PowerPoint.
Because it looks like there is, when you click on the directions, there is, it looks like the Microsoft Immersive Reader is on there. So it reads the directions to you.
Oh, is that what this thing is?
Yes.
Because I click on the instructions, I see like a picture, and then I click on the word, and it sounds it out.
Find.
Yes. Cool. So it does, this is
Please.
the button right over here.
Please.
So I'm going to go back to teacher mode now so that I could be in the teacher mode. But it does read the directions to you. Thank you for mentioning that, Kelly. I appreciate that. Here is the next activity, which is fill in the blanks. So if you are a closed reader kind of person, or you're working on specific vocabulary, then like I just copy pasted in a sentence and then I took out the words. The teacher prep for this is super duper easy, and you fill in the blanks as necessary. Okay, I could also set a timer on this. I didn't set a timer for this one though. So for all of the activities, I could set a timer. Cool. Moving on to the next one. Here is a memory test. Just so that for my littles, I could play a memory game with them just so that they know what it is. And then they find the matches. It is like the game memory where you have the same pictures over and over. So this is just something fun for you to do. Works a lot better for the younger kiddos. And this is my favorite part. You actually have a drawing that you can do. So my instruction says, use your favorite color to draw your current emotion. So go ahead and draw away. Let's go. You got 45 seconds. You can also upload a picture if you want to. And you can see on my end, it says that this is in progress. So I can actually see what's going on for people. And you can feel free to use a text box as well. You don't necessarily have to, draw if you don't want to. Cool, I see some happy faces. Oh, somebody's drawing a Peardeck. No! No! It's okay. You are exploring the tool. Enter your text here. We got some sleepiness. And all right, so as you can see, when the timer came up, everybody's work got submitted. You didn't have a choice for submission or not. So maybe like this person drew something that was really, really good, right? That was on point or had a really great explanation. I just click share, and on your end, you actually see the item that I'm sharing with you, which I find to be really cool. And then I can switch it, but then you still see the one that I shared with you. If I share again, then you also get to see the different item that I shared. Next, for our math teachers, Desmos is integrated directly into Nearpod. So if you're a Desmos user or you're a math teacher, you get to play with Desmos right away. And your students can log things in, and they could play with all the different math functions. which I find to be really cool as a math teacher. I'm going to move on to the next thing. VR field trips. How about this as a hook, right? We're about to study Rome. Guess what, boys and girls? This is what present Rome looked like. You know, we are in St. Peter's Square, and you get to move around and see what it looks like. Oops, sorry, I didn't enter the VR mode. So now you get to see what it looks like. And then if you have a laptop, you can move things around, or if you are on your computer, you can move things around as well. So I like to use that to start things off for my students. And then PhET is also, if you're a PhET user or know what PhET is, you can actually embed. PhET is integrated directly into Nearpod as well. So here is a play on perimeters. I can just put my boxes in, my squares in, and then I can see my area is 2, my perimeter is 6. So this could really help our students understand area and perimeter with the different forms and shapes that they are using. And I can play with this in having it show the numbers of the units that they have. And I can also do it like this, so then I can compare. Maybe I want to know, I want to create a form or a shape that had using only 4 squares that has the most amount of area or the most amount of perimeter, you know? So this is something that they can definitely use to compare. Oops. So you could play with this on your own as well. They have, with PhET, they have math things embedded in there, and they also have science things embedded in there. So you don't actually have to go to PhET, the website, and then import that website in. It is already within Nearpod. So I thought that was really awesome. If you are a vocabulary user, so you got the rap stuff going on, vocabulary is also embedded directly into Nearpod. So you can choose your vocabulary lessons, and this one is about fiction and nonfiction texts. So you could play the video. I'm not going to play the whole video for you though. So, you know, and they have, my favorite part about vocabulary is they have the week in rap. So they have an entire week's worth of news all put into one wrap, which I was like blown away by that. And it's great for your students to really get engaged with the news. They also have a ton of different 3D models that you can embed into Nearpod as well. And here is a macrophage. So I can actually move it around and see all of the different shapes and sizes and what it is made of. They have one for the brain, for the heart, for the skeletal system to do this. And I can embed in a quiz. So if you want to answer the questions, I can have my quizzes right over here for you. I know I'm hopping in really quickly and I see that there is a chat going on. And yes, you can play the videos for the kids, or they could play the videos on their side. So you get to decide if you are running this synchronously, if you want it to present from only your side, or if you want it to be played on every single device. Okay. The 3D model was a macrophage, so it's a big macrophage eating another thing. So here you go, you get your scores right away of how each person did. And you could talk about the scores with your students if you want to. And then last thing, you can embed a website directly. So if you look at the bottom, all you gotta do is click, and then you get to open that link right away. Your students won't get lost in like trying to type in whatever link it is that you want them to get to. So make sure you click on this, and then I will give you the code next so that you can upgrade. You can have your free upgrade to have gold for 6 months. And then lastly, this is just a video integration. where you can have play your video right over here. And when I click on it, it's going to ask me, oops, it's not asking me because I think I had clicked it already, where I get to click if I want to play the video on just my device only for everybody, or if it's only just for you, the person, for each individual user. One thing I didn't tell all of you is that I didn't demonstrate on here is time to climb, because for time to climb, it is like if you're a quizzes user, it is exactly like quizzes where everybody is in competition and answering the questions. And so these are all the interactive things that are part of Nearpod that are integrated in. You can also put in, you know, you could put in a Twitter feed, you can put in any of your video embedded that you want to. I think that's about it. Denise, it's your turn.
All
Can
right.
you beat that?
Ooh, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Kelly says Nearpod's looking pretty darn good. I'm just saying.
Because you haven't seen Peardeck. All right. So let me see what you can do with Peardeck. As I mentioned, you can do teacher-directed or student-paced lessons, so synchronous versus asynchronous lessons. And the cool thing is, you can change that on the fly. So right now it's teacher-paced, but all I have to do is come right down here, and I could turn on student-paced and let you work at your own pace, and then I could bring you right back into teacher-paced. Can you do that in Nearpod, Natalie? Natalie. Valerie, can you do that in Nearpod?
Unfortunately, if I have set it at teacher pace, I have to continue with it as teacher pace. But I can also start one that is student paced as well. So I can have two running at the same time if needed.
There we go. So in Peardeck, again, it is Google Slides based. And so if you have your own content in Google Slides, you actually have these 6 different options to make your own slides interactive. So you could do text, multiple choice, a numerical value. You can embed websites, drawing, and then a draggable. So I'm going to show you a couple of those examples. Again, it's Google Slide based, so you get to kind of choose your canvas. And this is actually a draggable. But the cool thing that you see, again, we're on the teacher view right now, right? And so this is a great question because students are just doing 1 point on the line. And then when you show it to the whole class, if students have a good understanding of the information, which we don't, right now, we could actually see a line forming, right? So when I lock the screen and, you know, this is giving me some great information. As a teacher, if I saw this, I know, ooh, maybe I need to do some reteaching. The cool thing is I can come up here and I know, oh, wow, I really got to check in with this person, all right, or this person, or okay, yeah, these people are close, etc. And here's the nifty thing. So maybe I see this, I do some quick reteaching to get rid of any misconceptions. And then right down here, I hit new prompt. I have a ton of prompts that I can choose from, or I can literally use and ask the same question again in 4 different ways. So it's a wonderful way to do what my boss always says, it's better to do a biopsy than an autopsy. And so that's the beauty of having an interactive lesson, right? I can see when I need to reteach and do it right away and not wait until the end. Here's a drawing slide, right, where you just draw lines to match. Again, this is a pre-built slide, and so then you could go in and customize it for your own content area. We're doing just a really like kind of flyover tonight, and so in my Peardeck sessions, I kind of show there are ways where you can highlight students with correct answers. I can see everyone's answers in a grid, right? So I kind of have an overview. And so if students are writing or drawing inappropriate things, I can actually hide their responses so that they sort of lose their audience for their, you know, antics. Here's another example. Now this is a drawing slide, but you'll notice on your screen you have a little text box, a T, so you don't have to draw. You can also type in an answer. And there's an eraser available, etc. If you guys have questions, please, I can't see the chat right now, so someone can read them out loud for me. I am not a math teacher, and I know I'm going really quickly, but I love this idea of bringing art into math. When I saw this, I was like, okay, that's super cool. And it's, you know, just a drawing slide.
Denise?
Yes.
Someone in the chat asked if the student paste is part of the premium for Peardeck.
Yes. And actually this dashboard is also premium. So I got to tell you, I wouldn't use Peardeck, the free version. Like, I truly believe you need the premium version, but the good news is you're all getting it tonight for free. Whoop, whoop. Those are some great bunnies, by the way. Good job. All right, here's a draggable with a line. I love this one. Where is the equator? And again, if you can see my screen, it gives me a really good indication of where everyone is, but I can like kind of highlight over and see who's doing what, okay, who hasn't moved theirs, etc. And then watch how cool this is. So maybe you do this as like a warm up or a hook, right? Having your students place the equator. And then look at that. So on your screen now, you see the correct answer, and then what is also on your screen?
Wikipedia.
Yeah. So now there's an article about the equator. And so then this is a great way to kind of jump students into the lesson. And so they've got a visual and they can read an article about it as well. And it's all embedded right there within the Peardeck presentation.
In the chat, there's a question. Is there a way for teachers to show class responses back to them? We saw that in Peardeck, in Nearpod. Can Peardeck do that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So since this is, let me go back. So again, here's the teacher view. And then when I hit show responses, and in Peardeck, any of the responses that are shown on the projector on student screens are always anonymous, which is great because that lowers that fear factor, and it gives every student a voice. So your EL students, your special ed student, it takes away that fear factor of like, oh, I don't want to say anything because I'm going to look dumb, right? Well, it's anonymous, so no one knows. It's a great pedagogy, a teaching strategy to actually highlight an incorrect answer and say, hey, I noticed quite a few of you are answering like this, which is wrong. Let's look at it and let's discuss it as a class. And it's totally anonymous. So you're showing a wrong answer without putting a student on blast. And I'm able to show those responses just literally with one click. Of course, we have multiple choice. Oops, did I go too far? There we go. You can put any website in on a Peardeck. Not all of them will embed, but all of these educational sites will embed directly on the Peardeck slide. If it doesn't embed, in the bottom middle of your screen, you're going to see a little pair, and there's a link next to that, and you can click that link and it'll open it in a new tab if it's not embeddable, but all of these are embeddable. So Desmond,
could you hit show responses really quick so I can see what it looks like? Thank you.
You're welcome. I forget when I'm doing this. And again, you would always typically want to lock the screens before you show the responses with students. Otherwise, they just like to watch them change for fun. Now, Valerie showed you guys that awesome Nearpod Collaborate board, right? Well, just so you all know, that's actually a free feature in Nearpod. And it's so cool that you can even embed a Nearpod Collaborate board in a Peardeck. So, hey, there's Val's board embedded in my Peardeck.
She's trying to bite off of me, that's why.
So.
And so Craig mentioned that we're able to add things on the fly in Nearpod, in Peardeck. And I just want to mention that in Nearpod, you can do it too. So I can go directly, I forgot to show you that you can add activity. So while you're watching a video or whatnot, or you realize that your students really don't understand something or they need another clarification, you can add in an activity right away, and you can have them complete an activity or whichever check for understanding you would like to do. Okay. I know Peardeck's got some ruthless ground game, right? Watch it, Denise.
So
watch it.
I added a text slide on the fly as Val was saying that. So there's the text slide about the Nearpod Collaborate board, which is a very cool tool, or you could do a Padlet. I just wanted to let you see that you can also, since it's Google Slides, you just put a video on your Google slide. And then I love to make my video slides interactive, because then you give students the opportunity to jot down their notes, or at the end of the video, you could have them like do a summary, ask a question, okay? So when I hit show responses now, I can scroll through, you can see all of the different responses, I can grid them, I can sort the responses, and, oh, I almost gave away a feature that we're gonna talk about next.
Denise, this is the dashboard view. Could you show everybody the projector view though first? Do you have it up on another tab?
Yeah.
So they can see what it would look like if you were live in a class. There you go.
There you go. There's the projector view, and again, I can still do it in list, or I can do that. So for example, like I love this team Peardeck, right? I could star that back in my dashboard view if, again, I wanted to highlight either a correct response or an incorrect response to have a discussion about it. It's also great if you have a student who's doing inappropriate things, you just hide their responses. I call that letting them kind of, you know, it's not a politically correct metaphor anymore, but you give them rope to let them set their own trap, because everything that you do as a student is being documented. And so if I have a student who's misbehaving, boom, I just let them go ahead. I take away their thunder. And then at the end of the lesson, I now have evidence like, hey, this is what they did during the lesson. Could be why they're not doing so well in my class. So 6 different types of interactions that you can add to your own slides, plus hundreds of templates for critical thinking, social emotional learning. There's K2 templates, pre-made content area templates, you name it, a ton of pre-made templates, celebratory, and Peardeck has a partnership with Newsela. So every day you can get a Peardeck template of Newsela stories to share with your students as well.
Denise, there was a question. Does the videos in Peardeck play automatically, or is it a link? Is the play embedded, or does it have to link out to YouTube?
It's embedded in your slide. So it's just a video that you've put in your Google slide. So in a teacher paced mode, the teacher would hit play and it would play on the projector screen only. In student paced mode, the students would click on the video and watch it directly on their own screen.
So you have lesson templates, but not pre-made lessons, right?
Correct.
So
but
can I?
So you Drive, so they're shareable.
Oh. Well, guess what Nearpod has? Because Nearpod has lessons done for you already. So here is my lessons library from this account, but I can go into. Let me move this out of the way first. I can go into my Nearpod library and look at all the lessons that are available for me. I have racial justice ones. I can choose all the subjects that are here. So maybe I'm an English language arts teacher. So here are all of my lessons. I have stuff for 3rd grade. There are 62 lessons there. Let's work on the alphabet for my kinder folks. I have my 3rd grade math lessons. And I do have to say, these lessons, though, are not available in the gold or in the freemium. They are in the district ones. You can purchase them if you would like to, though. But the district ones, if your district or your school decides to get an account, you will have access to these pre-made lessons. But the lessons are really cool because it does have everything embedded in there already. And what I really dig right now is you can actually select a state, because they also recognize that you have different states have different standards. So here we are in California, and then I could click on social studies. I can select 5th grade, and then boom, I have all of these lessons that are already done for me as well. Another really cool thing that is available to everybody right now is these English learner lessons, the Nearpod Learning Lab, the digital citizenship. I mean, we all know how important digital citizenship is. So if I just click on it, these are actually available to everybody at the moment. So you can talk about digital citizenship. Okay, and what I had forgotten to show you earlier was here's my lesson. And let's say after the video, I want to add in an activity. So here are my activities. I can add in a link right away. I can add in an open-ended question, a draw it. I could add in another slide, or I can add in a true false in there for you directly. I'm gonna stop my share.
All right, so that was round 2, right? Which was the interactive lessons.
Components, yep.
Component, yes. And so I think round 3, I am leading off, right? Yes. So let me share my screen again. So round 3, back up real quick. By the way,
Nearpod doesn't say money, 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 money.
Money, money, money to buy those lessons, right? You can buy them one by one also. $5
or if your
here.
district has it already, then you're fine.
Our district has no money.
All right, so round 3 is all about feedback and grading. And so let me show you what that looks like in Peardeck. I almost spilled the beans earlier. So with Peardeck, you can actually leave feedback for students during the lesson. Okay, this is a new feature, and students get a little notification that you have left them feedback, and I'm pretty sure they can actually respond to that feedback as well. So this is just a little screenshot where Katie had given an answer, and then I could type in and give her that feedback. Again, it's better to do a biopsy than an autopsy, right? And so this shows you, this is again another screenshot of what that looks like. So you give feedback, and it's right there within the presentation. The student gets a little notification down there. And so a great way to provide that immediate, timely, targeted feedback, which is perfect during distance learning. If you have a student-paced lesson, when you go in and open up that lesson, you can see what slide every single student is on, and then give them feedback throughout the lesson. Another wonderful component to that is the takeaway. At the end of a Peardeck lesson, at the end of our session tonight, when I hit in the lesson, you're going to automatically get a takeaway, which is a Google Doc. It's going to show you all of my slides. All of my links are going to be embedded on that Google Doc. It actually, as you can see here, it starts out, it's kind of like a flipped Cornell Notes, I like to say. So part 1 is a summary. It's a Google Doc, guys. It's totally editable. And so you can the takeaway is done automatically, so you can extend your lessons with 0 work on your part. And then what I love, if you use Google Classroom, you just make an assignment and say, turn in, complete your takeaway and turn it in here. So because it's a Google Doc, students can type on it. They can add any questions that they might have. They can clarify their responses. And I actually have an art teacher who showed students, because these slides and your interactions are going to be on that Google Doc, and they're all just images, they're JPEGs. So she has students like they do at the beginning of the lesson, they will like draw or sketch something, and then she'll teach them the content, and then at the end of the lesson they apply what was taught. And so she has them in the takeaway move that bottom one, that bottom image response, and bring it up towards their top, and then they do a comparison from the beginning of the lesson to the end of the lesson, and it's all automatically assigned in a Google Doc. So it's a fabulous thing. You can also share those with parents, counselors, admin, etc. Right? Like, this is what the student is doing during the lesson. Everything's documented. It's also in a spreadsheet. You don't have to do anything in that.
Denise, there was a question. If we aren't a Google school, does it do the same thing with Microsoft?
I know that there you can use Microsoft login. So tonight, I should have mentioned that ahead of time. I have my settings set up to log in with Google. You can change that to have it log in with Microsoft. I'm not sure how deep that integration runs. That's just not, we're not Microsoft, so I haven't been able to kick those tires. But I can put you in touch with someone or find out that answer for you. So I know you can log in with Microsoft. I just don't know how deep it runs in Teams and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you? So for us in yes, Nearpod is my tool. Like, I don't remember what my tool was anymore. For us,
tell us about Peardeck, Valerie.
For us in Nearpod, in terms of feedback, you actually get these really awesome reports from all of your students. You get to see if they've completed every single activity that you have put in there, which I think is important, because then you have kind of like an overview of everything, right? So I can see the students' names, I can see how many things they've actually completed, and then I can actually go through and say, okay, here are their individual open-ended questions. This is what they actually drew. This is what they had for matching pairs. This is what they wrote down for collaborate, how they did on time decline, And every single time, even for the open-ended questions, I have ones, it shows me a little percentage of who has answered and who didn't answer. I can share the reports with people. So I can share it with myself. I could share it with another counselor. I could share it with somebody else. I could download it if I need to. And here's a student view. So I can actually download it in terms of students. So I can actually show mom and dad, like, these are the things that your students wrote today. See every single student who have logged in. So I can actually end my lesson right now, and I can actually show exactly who had attended my lesson. And this one was done at teacher paced. I can also do it in student paced. So depending on how I want to run my lesson, synchronously or asynchronously, it's a possibility for my students to, I would be able to know who was involved and who was there and who wasn't there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's the same with Peardeck. So you can see who has done what in the lessons. I went ahead and ended my Peardeck session, so you guys would get your takeaway. And so, yeah, you can see which slides they did, what they didn't do, etc. So it's all documented for you. And in Peardeck, it's actually documented 3 different ways: in the actual session itself, in the takeaway, and in a spreadsheet.
So Tammy, yes, if they logged in but didn't answer anything, it would show that they logged in, but it would show that they didn't complete any of the work, any of the check for understanding work that was assigned to them. So then I've actually asked my students before, be like, ooh, you know what? I saw that you logged in, but you didn't do the work that you were supposed to do. So here is a student mode for you. Can you please complete the work? So I guess that's what we have. That's all that we have for today, right? Here is your code.
What do you mean that's all? Holy cow, ladies. I don't know. Man, that was worth the price of admission right there. My goodness. Good job. Woo.
So I shared this in my breakout group, and I wanted to, be fully transparent. My district buys both. So I don't think you have to, it doesn't, if your district has the money, made it both. Don't, choose one over the other. In my viewpoint, if you use Google Slides, my guess is, or PowerPoint, and you've got your curriculum on slides, I like Peardeck better for that. But if you're looking for pre-made curriculum, that's what Nearpod definitely excels in. They've got all those pre-built lessons. In my experience, Nearpod is more expensive because you're paying for content. So with Peardeck, you're paying for the tool. With Nearpod, you're paying for the tool plus the content. So
I have to say though, I actually have never used personally any of the pre-made lessons, even as a gold member, just because I like creating my own content. I'm very specific and particular in how I like to present information to my students. So I've always just used Nearpod for all of the interactivity that was present, because I like the fact that my students could respond to me in like by voice if they didn't want to write something down, I had some students who have done amazing drawings where they've spent so much time drawing. I was like, wow, you're crazy. But that was what they really like to do. So they got to really express themselves differently. But that's also a possibility in Nearpod, in Peardeck as well. So in terms of friendliness use, I think Peardeck is really friendly for the littles because of just all of the different maneuvers that you can do. But I was able to use Nearpod with my little kindergartners as well, and they dug it. So it really, there are a lot of great things in both tools. I'm not hating on Peardeck at all. And I was thinking
they're really good.
Well, Craig, that's for if you want the platinum version. That is $349, and as a gold user, you could be, it's $120 for the entire year, so it's $10 a month. But you currently also, with the code, get 6 months for free, so why not, right? I mean, I would say take advantage of the gold that you have right now and really play with the tool to see what you would like.
Yeah, definitely take advantage. And, I know that when, with Peardeck, like when your free trial expires, they'll usually give you 15 more days. So don't walk away, like, kind of see, and it should extend for 15 more days. And like Val said, under the, we're both wearing our Somos Q shirt, right? So the Q philosophy is, lifetime tech support. So both of us have given you our Twitter handles. If you were in my Peardeck, you got a takeaway. So now you have my email address for work, and feel free to, shoot me an email or whatever. And, we're both willing to help out in any way.
Denise, if we were just watching and observing, is there a way to get that takeaway or not?
So Peardeck does create, yeah, here, let me do a link. Let me show you real quick. So again, with Peardeck, everything lives in your Google Drive. I'm not sure what it looks like in Microsoft, but I know it works with Microsoft. So, the codes are there. So in my Google Drive, there, the blank takeaway is, oh, I should have gone just to Peardeck. That'll be easier because my drive's a mess. So it does do a blank takeaway. And so what I'll do is just share the link to that takeaway. So here I am logged in. You'll see here's my drive right here. And then I can just come up here to the sessions. I can go back in and see all the responses back in Peardeck. Did you guys get your takeaways? Or no?
No.
Okay, it looks like now it'll do it. So yeah, here's the takeaway. It also has Google Classroom integration. So they're doing the takeaways right now. So if you hit me up on Twitter, or I can put my email address in, shoot me an email, and I can send you the blank takeaway. But we also have the slides. So the slides kind of have all that information. It's just a